Hi, she's Trixie and I'm Sarah, and this is our Yarn World, a place where we come to share the love of yarn crafts and all that it gives us and what we hope it gives you. We're on episode 177 today, and we did skip last week. A lot was going on, and we're getting ready for Mother's Day, and we decided to take a trip, just her mom and daughter, to celebrate Mother's Day.
Yes.
As a getaway.
As an overnight getaway.
As an overnight getaway, and just to be able to enjoy each other's company. When my daughter becomes a little bit older, we're planning on having her start joining the trip. Yeah. Just as some sort of
mother-daughter theme.
Yeah, something that we get to do. My husband already has plans to be able to do... He's already been a part of a group of guys that have made a tradition of going camping for Father's Day as a father-son thing. But now that there are more fathers with daughters in the group, because it was primarily sons at the time when that started to happen, that tradition started to happen, they're changing their plans a little bit. But just the fact that we can kind of incorporate similar abilities to kind of be like, okay, we can have these, holidays be enjoyed. We never... Not that this necessarily is something we have to argue with, but we never make it very specific that this holiday goes over Mother's Day. We want to be home with our kids. We want to be able to still be there to celebrate with them.
Right.
And so we just were able to get away the Friday and Saturday before, and with my mom's birthday also being the following weekend, it was kind of just fun to kind of be able to have her to myself before my other siblings kind of would intrude.
That's funny.
But yes, with all the preparation for all that and just needing to have some time to get some stuff done, last week we really didn't get to hang out with you guys, but we're here to still just check in, see how everyone's doing with their projects, and wish everyone a happy Mother's Day, happy May. It's really starting to finally feel like spring/summer.
Yeah.
We're starting to actually feel it, and
it feels good.
It feels so good. Even though I got sunburn the other day.
Oh, I know. And all the green is coming out, and that's always a good sign.
Yes.
Well, I have not crocheted. I can't say that. I have started and ripped out a couple of times since the blanket. But with our trip and everything, I wanted to do something a little different. And so I've been working with my beads, and I want to show you what I made over when we were at the hotel. And one is for Olivia, one is for Kanya, one's for me. So this one that I'm going to show you first is for Olivia, and it will fit. It's like a purse dangle, but you can hang it on any bag. So any bag dangle. So it has...
It's very much Olivia.
Yeah, it has a swivel lobster claw, and then it's all... She loves the ocean. She loves ocean characters, and so I made it with blues and deep purples and like a very polished stone down here, and pearls, and a sailboat that just happens to have her birth month on it, which is August, on the back. That just, I saw the sailboat, but Sarah's the one who noticed, hey, it says August on the back, that's her birth month. And I'm like, well, then she's got to have that. Now, one of my favorites is this bead right here, because it almost looks like there's water inside of it. But
I almost had it. Focus, camera. Oh, the camera is being finicky. Sorry.
Anyway,
Yes.
it may be just too close.
There's some air pockets that were in it when the glass was being formed into the bead, and so with the exterior polished, it looks like water inside the bead.
Yeah. So this will be hers. And the second one, now I made hers with silver fixings or findings. This one is in golds, but Kaniel likes blues and greens, and he just loves that color combination. So for his, I did golds, greens, and blues, and like a gold,
yellows.
yeah. And then his has a star on it, and so just all the different variations that you can find. And his will also go on his bag, and you can't give one without giving the other, and I would never do that anyway. But if you're gonna give one, you should give the other, because it's a point of contention if you don't.
And what's fun is, not to draw any specifics, but one of my brothers, his family is growing due to them being a bit of a foster family.
Yeah.
And so these are very easy, personable gifts. The symbol, not the symbol, the formula, there you go. The formula to these designs is very straightforward, but they can be easily personalized by what you add to the dangle. So as we start getting good ideas as to what some of these new kids are entering our lives, they will be good gifts for them as well.
Yes.
My mom is not excluding any of the other grandchildren. It's just much more of, some of them are a little bit older and this might not be their taste, but they also, my mom she does like this sort of stuff, and they know that, and they know that she cares enough to be able to still make very personalized things. My kids are just probably the ones that have created a habit of doing crafts with my mom the most, but
they're the ones who expect it the most. But they want me to do it.
But two of my nephews, one from both of my brothers, are really good artists. Oh. And so there's different ways. Like, my mom just picked up this jewelry making journal magazine that had different ideas as to how to create small portraits that are jewelry size. I really think the boys might enjoy something along that line.
Yeah.
Like almost like pictures being taken of some of their favorite things, maybe video game moments or
dinosaurs,
or just things that they might enjoy in that way. Things that they might not appreciate this, but they will still have with the things that my mom is trying to learn to embrace with this art, will be able to be adapted to that. And I can't wait to see what those designs look like, because these turned out so well. I can't wait to see what you do for the others.
Right. And I'm still learning how to do the necklaces and all that kind of stuff too, but right now I love the dangles.
I do too, but I really think that some of our other kids in the family would like these too.
Especially since Josh wears a necklace all the time.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's very versatile, and it can kind of just be, I don't know. It's, how do I put it? Because I'm looking at my mom's that she's about to share. It's welcome chaos. It's very eclectic, overproductive, and it almost feels like a scrap journal, but in jewelry form. Does that make sense?
Well, I can tell you what every one of these mean.
Yeah.
So here's mine, and it's extra long because it's just, I had a longer piece of chain to put my dangles on because I had so many. Okay. I love bubblegum and bubblegum pink. That's just my colors is bubblegum pink and teal. I have a cross on here. I have the names of fairy tales on a sign.
It looks like it's like a direction wooden stake sign.
I have yarn,
Lockets.
diamonds. I have a locket with Josh and Sarah as babies. I have
Jewelry pieces.
I have beads that I made myself that look like yarn. I have a mom ring that Sarah gave me when she was a teenager.
How many of these mom and nana stuff did I get you?
Probably all of them. I have an owl on, whoop.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah. An owl on here because I love owls. And we have owls out in the back woods that hoot at night.
Yeah.
I have a charm that says dream on it. I have
A pendant.
a pendant that is pink. I have one that says I can do everything through him who gives me strength. Yes. That's my favorite verse. And I have my name carved out of wood from when I was a teenager and we went to either Kings Island or Cedar Point. And the only way to get my name was to have them personally do it. So, yep. I have all kinds of dangles on here, but that's my aesthetic. My pinks and teals. I have all kinds of just beautiful things on here. I have my kids when they were just babies. And I can, if anybody comes up and says, well, what is that all about? I can tell them what every single one of these is. You know, I made my own bead combinations and, you know, put them together and, you know, just so that I could put them on there. Oh, the pearls and the pink. Yeah. So that's what I've been working on. I know that I've got a bunch of yarn that still needs to be used up, and I haven't started on that yet, but I want to.
Oh my god!
Sounds like she's got an idea.
You can make holiday themed ones.
I know.
Like purse jewelry for like Christmas and
Halloween.
I'm excited. I might buy beads for you to make me some.
Oh, and by the way, you don't have to go out to the big box stores, although I did get some from Joann's when it was going out of business.
That was still on a deal.
Yeah, but my biggest draw is I can get old necklaces from thrift stores and I can tear them apart and use those beads on things. So I'm recycling as I do it. And that's one of my favorite things to do is find those old necklaces, tear them apart, put them into new things. I think Sarah's going to show you the one that I was able to make her.
I was at Walmart and in the craft section, and there was a strand of beads that were already pre-color coordinated that I liked. It was in bronze and greens and silvers. And when I showed my mom that, and I was like, I already have a theme going here. Just use these. I bought them for a separate reason, but I actually just decided to have my mom use them because I like them. And then she was like, well, I need more. This isn't going to be enough. So she opened up her case of beads and she's like, pick out ones that you think will work with this. And so I picked out things that were in the color palette that was already presented with the strand of beads. And I got this.
Now her beads were all in a line, and they were already sectioned off. They did 4 or 5 repeats. So I just found those repeats and I made my own section of them with wire.
Sorry, I'm squinting because I'm trying to not stare right at the lamp above me. But the little letters you see on there are just XOXO repeated. I just thought that would be cute.
Those are typewriter keys.
Yep. I just got, I really just love this color combination. It's some of my favorite.
And everybody mentions how they love it on her purse.
So yeah, and I love this, but I love the idea that we can make ones that have themes,
Yeah.
like for Christmas.
I have a whole drawer full of Christmas dangles that I can do.
So that's awesome, because I know people who would like that, and they would make really good gifts, or like, yeah, I'm gonna get on a tangent on this one because I love making keychains too.
We just make them differently.
My husband, one of his friends passed away, and his wife, now widowed, has been calling him over. This was a bit of this was an older couple, but he very much cared for them. They had let him live with them when he was younger and needed a place to stay, and they let him rent out the basement. They were kind of like almost like an aunt and uncle to him in a way.
Yeah.
I would say. Well, she's been calling him over asking for help because her son lives across the state, and he's been making as many trips over to navigate all the estate stuff with his mom as much as possible. It's really hard when life does this because it was so sudden. The man in the family that passed, it was within 24 hours that just a stroke just turned into started from an aneurysm that they didn't know was even there to him just flatlining. So it really is rough. But this to say, James has been getting called over there a lot. And he's welcomed, trying to take on the role of helping, being one of the people to help. And I very much appreciate that part of him, his caring heart. But he was in the kitchen. We were doing some just general, communication before, from after work, before he had to leave to go do this errand. And he saw my keychain rack that I have made. And he's like, I'm going to take one of your pigs in a blanket. And he's just like, for her. She needs to smile. I was like, okay, it's fine. And it's just one of those moments where it's like, when you have a crafter in the family and they have stuff already made, there's this strength that can be drawn on in the development of what is homemade to be a pickup, like a pick-me-up. Like, I remember when I made you that.
Yeah.
And I know I'm pointing off screen, but I'm talking about the gnome. Can you
My crochet gnome.
Is that going to be too much? For maybe some of the new viewers out there, I made this gnome that's on this bench. She got a whole bunch, a little,
Bag of yarn.
There's a little basket right here of rolls of yarn, in the style of my mom's scrappy blanket. She already has a little granny square blanket, and she's just crocheting away She even has her little crochet hook and her balls of yarn on her hat as her activity. But here's the thing. Oh, I even made a little rug.
Yep, underneath.
But here's the thing. I knew exactly what my mom would have wanted for this project, and so I went all out with all the little details. Even though I didn't know that stuff like this was going to happen to our friends, just having that ability to fall back on the little homemade things, such as these dangles, or even the small projects like the keychains, or even the flowers that I make sometimes. There's just a strength that can be drawn from little acts of kindness. Mm-hmm. And even if it's like I didn't realize that things that I was planning to sell were going to turn into a pick-me-up gift. You don't realize that sort of strength, that thing of I just made this last year for, just
James supports you so well in the craft that he even wants other people to benefit from what you do.
Yeah, he loves what I do. There's nothing that I do that he doesn't fully believe I can't do it. Like there's many different areas in which he's just I'll be like there's a very specific field of study that I don't talk about it a lot on the channel, and so and because that's not what this channel is about, I'm not going to get into it, but that I'm very much invested in, and I have been very interested in this science for a very long time, and sometimes when he takes me to the bookstore, I don't go towards fantasy or entertainment novels. I go towards educational books in that field. And I'll just sit and read them. And I'll be like, did you know about this? Did you know that this is what they've been learning? And all this stuff. And he'll just be like, why don't you go back to school? Why isn't this what you do? And I'm like, and insecurities will pop up, and the beliefs that you've let rule your life, because every single one of us has those setbacks, will pop up, and he'll be like, but you're good at it. He's like, and the things that you're not used to yet is the point of going to school to learn. He's like, you'd be around someone who'd be teaching you the things that you're not sure if you'd be able to do, and they'd be able to guide you in the things that are your strong suits. He's like, that's the point of it. He's like, why don't we give it a try? And so there's times where he's constantly trying to remind me that he will buy me yarn. He'll buy me other things, other crafts and hobbies I have, and he'll fully dive in and be like, sure, this is exactly what we're doing. This is what you're gonna do. This is what you're going to accomplish. This is what I believe you're more than capable of doing. But then there's moments where I'm just like, I don't even know how to even meet that, because it's so insane to have that level of support. And even just moments where or it's just like, I'm stealing this, and I'm like, and he's like, it's a pick-me-up. I'm allowed to have it. I bought you the yarn.
He's a good man. He does support you.
And sometimes he'll even be like, hey, can you crochet something like this so I can throw it out front? Like a Koopa shell.
Yeah.
Like from Mario, who'll be like, can you do that, please? I need to knock him out.
Aww.
Because I used to make him little Mario gadgets, and he would always have them on keychains or in his pocket, and he would throw them at his friends to be like, I'm knocking you out. We're done. Capturing you. We're done. It's just fun little bickering, but good Lord, it was just fun that he's just like, they would always just stare at me like, did Sarah make this? What? Why do you have this in your pocket?
Well, with that, we have the perfect quote to go right along with what Sarah just said.
Do we?
We do not remember days, we remember moments.
I forgot what we had agreed on.
Cesare Pavese of the Burning Brand.
I'm guessing it's probably the book.
We do not remember days, we remember moments. I think I think that's so true. We're not going to remember, July 5th of, 1963. We're going to remember, the moment that Now, I wasn't even born in 1963, so I can't remember anything from there. But if I was to remember my first ice cream or my first, I don't know, smell. I have a smell that when I was a baby that still comes on me. If I smell that, it triggers me right back to being in the crib. And my grandma says that I was in the hospital, and she says, yeah, whenever I would walk into the room, you'd be jumping up and down in your crib because you were so excited to see me, and I know I would be because I love her. But it reminds me of that time of being in the hospital. It's a good smell. It was some kind of food that was being brought down the thing, but it triggers me right back to a moment. You're not going to remember that day, but you're going to remember that moment. So
yeah, no, there is interesting correlations that we can make, right? So like sometimes we'll remember such a weird attachment to something just based off of, so like you would think my wedding day, right? I'm gonna remember a whole bunch of very specific things that happened that day because it's so monumental in my life. And I do to some extent, there's fond memories of that day. But you wanna know what one of the biggest memories I have of that day is?
what?
The morning. I had spent the night at one of my bridesmaids' houses with my maid of honor. And my maid of honor was determined to make sure she had food on hand for me so she could keep me nourished throughout the day because she didn't want me to have, jitters and accidentally throw up or something. She wanted to make sure she was feeding me French fries the whole entire day. Something that wasn't going to muck up my teeth or my makeup. And so she's like, we're going to stop at McDonald's before we head there so I have something I can slowly feed you throughout the day. This person didn't know me from Timbuktu that I know of. I don't know if it was someone that knew me. They've never mentioned it before. The person ahead of me in line had paid for my food by the time I got to go to pay.
Wow.
They didn't know that it was my wedding day. They didn't know I was about to head to the church to get dressed.
Wow.
They didn't know nothing. But that small little detail that could have been a monotonous part of that day, that part of the day that did not have anything to do with the wedding.
Right.
Was just me getting there.
Yeah.
I remember just being like, what are the odds?
You want to know what I remember from that day? Besides the fact that you got married?
What?
When we were in the basement, and I think you were fully dressed, and you kicked everybody out, and you said, I just want to spend time with my mom. That's the moment I remember. Oh, and your dad crying. When he saw you in the dress.
Yeah, but yeah.
He saw her in the dress and grabbed her and started bawling. That was a good moment too.
Yeah, there's just such small things, right? Like, I could remember the whole day, and I guess maybe that's not the right day to talk about, right? Because that's a day that you're gonna likely remember.
Yeah.
But there's even just small things, right? Where it's like, if I think back to band, when I used to be in band, I remember such weird memories about band that have nothing to do with band itself.
Or music or anything.
But just like random words that people would try to make up during band. I remember that as a vivid memory. I remember zoning out and kind of disassociating, waiting for everyone to come in and just being in my head. And a girl thinking I was staring at her, and it made her so uncomfortable. She had a friend come snap me out of it, and I could not explain to them in rational words that I was not trying to be a creep. That I just happened to zone out, and that I was actually looking over her shoulder. It doesn't matter because the way that I just those small things, right? I remember. Like, you would just think, oh, I don't know. It's just a very interesting thing because it proves that the body has a means of how to catalog importance. In Sherlock Holmes by, oh, I can't remember the name of the author, Sir Arthur something, I think. Conan? I don't remember. I remember when I first read the first part of the first book, and how when Watson finally became the other tenant to Sherlock Holmes, and Sherlock had made it very clear that his job required very odd hours, very odd routines, and just please don't interrupt me when I'm in my moods. And they were in each other's company in one of the main just gabbing rooms, just like the sitting room or something of their apartment. And Watson was reading the paper, and he was just reading some new discovery in science or something. And Sherlock, it took Sherlock out of whatever he was thinking about, and he's just like, asked very specific questions about it, and then just was like, then it's not important. And Watson was like, how is that not important to you? This is, you're a scientific man. How would this not be of interest to you? And he's like, I can't waste the space in my brain for things that I do not need.
Right.
He's like, I value what my brain does know. So I don't spend my time learning things I do not need to know. He's like, I respect you as a man who likes to adventure, but as a man who needs to observe, I can only take the time to keep my brain on things that I need to remember. So I will not entertain my brain with anything that is not important.
Right.
And I found it very interesting that in his mind, he chose his memories.
Yeah. That is interesting.
When in a lot of times in my life, memories chose me.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And so it's just very interesting how there's some people in life that make a job of choosing what they choose to remember for what they do. And there are always things in our life that choose to be unforgettable.
Yeah.
And those are the moments that we must learn to live with. I think that's some of the hardest things, because sometimes they haunt us, but sometimes they give us a means to know why we are who we are, good and bad.
Yeah.
So, as always, to finish off our video today, we do not remember days, we remember moments. From the Burning Brand by Cesare Pavese. Hopefully I said that right.
Yeah.
We are saying Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. We are saying thank you to all of our subscribers and watchers today. We are grateful for anyone who's made it to the end of this video, because a lot of today's video was just ramblings. We weren't really talking about anything in particular. We're a little bit more organized for anybody who is new. And, we'll be back to our normal rhythm next week. But
like, subscribe, comment, and tell your friends.
And as always, we hope that you get your projects done, that you enjoy the rest of your day, and that you stitch your way
to mental health.